Hello, and welcome to a very brief primer uh, on the course material, course content that we're going to be looking at over the next three weeks in Social Work 534, looking at organizations and agencies. So what are we talking about here? You know, when we talk about organization, um, we're certainly we're thinking about agencies within the community. Uh, you know, they could be government funded, they could be nonprofit, they could be some type of a mix. One thing I want to keep in mind is the community. Uh, Organizations, agencies, whether they're government agencies or nonprofits, are in existence to serve the people that live within that community. So there has to be an understanding of what the need is, and what the community makeup is. And there has to be ongoing evaluation, an assessment of certainly the services, but are we truly meeting the needs of individuals within our community, or are we putting up barriers that are not necessary? Are we not not staffed appropriately to be culturally competent or linguistically competent to meet the needs of the surrounding community? So that's something to maybe to start thinking about. So it's probably not shocking that without money, there is no agency, there's no organization, there are no programs providing services. So we have to be very clear in terms of how our services are getting paid for. How are we sustainable? There's a multitude of different pathways where funding finds organizations, or I should probably say organizations need to find funding. The government, federal, state, local governments may have money. They can provide them in the form of grants. It can be provided in the form of public insurance reimbursement. So it's there's philanthropy, so you can apply for money through a large funder, and then there's other ways as well. Organizations can do fundraising, but the reality of it is that in an ideal sense, the more diverse the funding streams are, the more really the more stability that organization will have. If they are overly dependent on one stream of funding, number one, that funder has a lot of power over what you do and you do as an organization or as a program. And the other side is if that funding stream goes away, then there's going to be a problem. So I want you to start thinking, why is it important? Why is it important for us to know what the mission of an organization is, how an organization or agency is defined by their mission, management, the style of the management, and how leadership interacts with staff, how it communicates with staff, how it communicates with the public, structure, and how does the structure of the organization help or hinder the mission, and all of the work that an organization does. Is the leadership very accessible? Is it very closed? Is it a very closed organization? Service delivery. How the organization touches the community. Are they providing services that are needed? Are they open? Are they available at the time that the community is open? Are staff well trained? Are staff courteous? Are staff working ethically? Is the organization does the organization have specific policies and protocols around that particular program, and how and how that program runs in case there's turnover? Is there is the organization or the program following state law or federal law? Protecting personal health information. It's a pretty big one. I like to say that when you're planning a program, you really want to have a clear idea of what will constitute a successful program. What is the change that you want to impact in the community? Assessment, outcomes, and evaluation. So we want to start with what do we mean by success? We'll certainly talk about this in detail, but certainly we have in organizations have funding requirements. They have contractual obligations to provide their funders with certain pieces of information, but also, and particularly in the world of the Affordable Care Act, looking at evidence-based practices, looking at outcomes data, clinical data. Is what we're doing, is it working? Is it making folks better? Are the outcomes sufficient? Are they statistically significant? Using that data and using that data as an organization to make decisions, making decisions about where money's going, making decisions about where new programs should be. Is data being used in a way that makes sense and can actually help the organization become more sustainable, make the services and the relationship with the community better, and making sure that you can use that data in order to keep your funders happy, and maybe make a case for more money. Okay, so here's my pitch. I know that some of you are going to say, hey, look, I'm just not that into macro social work. I'm not interested. I'm going to be a clinician, and that's what I want to do, and that is fine. However, please consider a few things. Consider what you want to do when you graduate. Even if you are entering directly into clinical work, there is some pretty compelling reasons to have a strong understanding of how organizations work and how they're funded, and for some purely self-serving reasons. First of all, wouldn't you want to work for an organization that is a good organization, an organization that's doing, not just doing well for the community and lives by its mission and treats its employees well, but also an organization that's sustainable, that's going to be funded next year. I think also that there is a piece that look, folks find themselves in leadership positions all the time. You have a master's degree. There is turnover in agencies. You can find yourself, whether you want to be or not, in a situation where you are managing staff very quickly. So it's good to keep that in mind. A little less self-serving, but consider clients and families. Consider the community. As social workers, we do have an ethical obligation to understand how organizations that we work for are functioning within a community, how they are creating barriers to service, and we do have an obligation to actively remove those barriers. Understanding how an organization works, understanding how funding stream works, can be helpful when you're guiding your clients. Where to go, what to do, how to navigate a system, how to navigate your organizational system, how to navigate to get maybe patient rights or client rights or get or to be able to inform the organization of what the community does need, and really be a positive force for change, to take down some of those barriers. Change is constant. The one thing I can guarantee you as you enter into your careers is that you will see within the organizations you work for an amazing amount of change. Laws change, funding streams change, priorities change. It benefits you as a professional, your clients, your community, to be able to recognize that, and to be able to look ahead and see, understand where the change is coming from, understand, what that means for your organization, and being part of the solution. Even if you are a therapy in private practice, understanding how changes to Medicaid will change your practice. Being able to explain to your patients or your clients or people in the community what changes mean to them and how they can best navigate it. I believe it is part of our. It makes us, that piece makes us unique from other clinical disciplines. Is that connection to the meso and macro systems. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful, and is provoking some thoughts, and maybe tying together some of the pieces just as we go forward, just kind of as a way to think about what we're doing here, all the way really through and to your final. All right.